I will be discussing two scenes from Sleepy Hollow, which is based on the story of the Headless Horseman, and the main characters here are going to be Ichabod Crane when he was a child and his parents, because these are two flashbacks from his childhood. So, in this first flashback, in this scene, right away I noticed the setting. So, this is his mother, center frame. She's spinning around and she's surrounded by nature, maybe showing that she's like Mother Nature. She's very comforting. It's a very light scene. It's lit very brightly. The sun is out, the sky is very blue, and she's surrounded by, these pink flowers on the trees, and the grass is really green. So it feels like a safe place to be in. And, looking at her clothing, it looks very like 1800s, as well as the house in the background. Looks like maybe a structure from like the East Coast. Um, and the music is very heavenly. She kneels down, kisses him on the cheek, so she's safe to be around. And she's wearing this blindfold, which I feel represents her innocence as a person, because she's wronged later in the story, but she's blind to it now. And he gives her flowers, further showing that he trusts her. And this little character, the actor, has soft features, very round. His haircut really accentuates like the roundness of his head and his eyes. The lighting on them is very soft and high key, and the tone of their skin is really warm and just brightly lit. So here in their house, there's this fireplace. Again, looks very old, and the fire itself is warm, further showing that she's a warm person. And so the character, she practices witchcraft and white magic, and I guess this symbol represents healing and protection, which is foreshadowing to what they need like further in the story. But Ichabod's father here, he shows up. He's clearly unhappy with this look on his face that she's drawing that. He's very against witchcraft because he's a religious figure. And we can see this cross behind him in the background. There's absolutely no color here in this shot. He's wearing all black. We can see he's wearing like one of those powdered wigs that shows he's a prominent figure, and he just looks very unhappy. In this same scene here, Ichabod is being comforted by his mother. They're in this attic, old furnishing, and this cross that's just right over his head really stood out to me. So it seems like it represents his father and his beliefs just looming over him at all times. And I really like this shot here because she's placed directly between the fireplace and this cool toned window light. So I feel like this window light really represents the father, just kind of hanging out in the background over her shoulder above her always. There's even this cross shape, more squared off shapes. And then this rounded fireplace, which is again warm, represents her and Ichabod. And this toy with like the bird in the cage represents her being stuck as well. And the father, here he is watching from outside. We saw his silhouette, which is a scary image, and he's only lit up here from the side and by the lightning. So here in this second scene, it focuses more on his father, and immediately I noticed that the only colors are red, black, and white. Red representing evil, and this is very much the opposite of the scene that his mother was in. There's no nature, it's very cold. There's this pointed arch, and pointed shapes are meant to be more evil as well. We're seeing him from this very low angle, looking up at him, so he's more powerful than us. The cross is right behind him. He's wearing all black. We can't see his hands, we don't know his intentions. There's a split lighting, and the music is even kind of eerie because it's the organ in the church. It just sounds very deep and dark. And there's also more of these triangular shapes that he's walking straight into. And we see Ichabod Crane over here. He's afraid of his dad, and he's looking between the seats like a prisoner stuck in his situation. And walking through this red door, we find this very chaotic, dark scene. So the mood is very eerie as well. There's hardly any color, it's just black, white, and gray. The lighting is very dim, just coming from the side here, hitting this figure that we're supposed to look at. Sound, it's very quiet before it gets more loud again. And yeah, it's a very scary setting for a child to be in around these medieval devices. And I really like the lighting on his face here because it seems to represent like the dark side of his father and like the light side of his mother. And then now his mother has like this frame within a frame around her eyes, showing that she's stuck in this situation. And the music is getting loud again. And now the prominent colors are red, black, and white.